Hey guys, DB Right here, and today I'm going to be doing my first official skate tutorial on this video. Of course, there were some older videos I did when I was doing some trick tips, but this is a tutorial for someone who's never picked up a board in their life. Or maybe you did, a long time ago. Maybe you're looking at getting back into skating. Maybe you're an adult looking to get back into skating. Or maybe you're an adult who's never ridden a skateboard before in their life but want to start because maybe you saw your own kid doing it and seeing how much fun he's having. You want to be part of that maybe, which is understandable. Now, as for me, I got back into skating because a lot of my new friends started buying skateboards and started cruising around and made me remember how much I used to love doing this when I was 9 years old. Before some bullies actually stole my skateboard and I never got it back, and I hadn't been on a skateboard since. I got back into skating 4 years ago when I was 28, so I'm 32 now. So if I'm an adult who can get back into skating, learn some tricks and have fun doing it, then guess what? So can anyone. So can you, so can your neighbor, so can your own parent. Doesn't matter. Age is no issue, size is no issue, sky's the limit. That's what I say. So without further ado, let's get started. Alright, so firstly, you want to pick out your skateboard. Now, depending on who you are and what your preferences are, so assuming you're an adult getting back into skating, you're probably not looking to do any aerial tricks right off the bat, but then again, maybe you are. If you are interested in learning tricks like learning how to ollie, kickflip, how to send it at the skate park, and things like that, then you're probably going to want a board like this one. This one is a popsicle board, also known as a street board, and it's basically the typical board you see around the skate park. People doing ollies, kickflips, and dropping in on and things like that. Mind you, you can drop in on cruisers and other boards like that too, and ride those at skate parks as well. No reason why you can't. So, but if just cruising around is your thing, cruising around, going down hills, then maybe you're better off with a cruiser board or a long board, a board like that. But that's okay, because in this video we're only covering cruising basics, how to stop, maybe a little bit on what it's like to go down a hill. So it's okay, I can use any board I want for this tutorial. I am going to be working on my tricks a little later on, but for now, so you picked your skateboard. Now, next you're going to want to figure out which, what your stance is going to be. You're either going to be standing regular, which is when your left foot is on the front of the board and your back leg is there on the tail. So right leg's your back leg, left leg's your front foot. And that is your regular stance. The opposite, when you have your right foot as the front and your left as the back foot, is known as goofy. Now, that's not an insult or anything, it's just what it's called. Goofy stance. And so one of the best ways to sort of figure it out is just walk and take a random jump and see what foot you lead with. Like if you were sliding on ice. And if you're still unsure, if you don't think that's enough to sort of determine which foot you are, then try standing both ways. So here I am now standing goofy, and I can tell you it's definitely not as comfortable for me as when I stand this way, which is regular. Now, just before we get into pushing and riding, another important thing I want to share with you is when you actually are riding, I just want to get this out of the way now before I actually forget to explain this when we're doing a bit of cruising, is let's say I pushed and I'm riding my board right now. Notice that my knees are bent, and it's very important. It keeps your weight at the center of the board. You have more control of it. Most importantly, you're lower to the ground and you can see any obstacles in your way that are on the road, such as potholes, things like that, pebbles that might knock you off your board a little bit better. And see how I'm standing here. I've seen some tutorials, they teach you to stand like this with your front foot more or less straight. And I don't know about you, but I can't ride like that. I can't bend and ride like that and lean, turn and whatnot. If I hit a pebble, I'd go flying off the board like that for sure. So I think this way is genuinely the safest. Okay, so yep, legs are bent and I'm pretty well over the board. So now that we've gone over that, it's now time for your first official skating lesson. And for now, I just want you to concentrate on pushing. Now, there are actually two ways to push. One of them's less looked on in skate culture, but I actually recommend learning both. I prefer pushing both ways. There's regular push and Mongo push. Now, regular push is you got your front foot like that. Your back foot is your pushing foot. So you just come in like you're taking a step forward and push. Just like that. So for right now, I just want you to get your foot up there and just practice sort of walking like that. Sort of get yourself used to pushing like that. Just start walking like that. Yeah. Which, to be honest, it is the right correct way to push. Now, the reason I like to push Mongo as well is because I can switch between legs. If this one gets tired of pushing from regular, I can switch and go the other way, like I'm about to here. Which means I can just keep cruising. I can keep pushing and cruising. And then when that leg gets tired, I switch back. So, it's the same thing really. You just sort of walk out like you're walking and push. And again, we'll go regular. Now remember, if you're goofy, your right foot is going to be like that. And you're going to be pushing that way. Regular stance. Your left foot's holding down the ball, your weight's on that leg, and you're pushing with that. I screwed that up, I hit an obstacle. So, yep. So again, pushing. Just getting used to that. As you can tell, I'm not quite used to regular push myself. I'm actually more comfortable pushing Mongo, pushing with my front foot. But that's due to years of pushing Mongo and no one telling me that it was actually the wrong way of doing it. But, like I said, the advantage of that is I can use both legs to push. And also tricks like the boneless come easier to me as a Mongo pusher. So, just one more time with the push. So that. just like you're walking, until you get used to that. You should have seen what my regular pushes used to look like. This was me when I was first trying to learn how to regular push. Whoa! 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 It was that alien to me from 2 to 3 years of Mongo pushing. Alright. So now that we've got that, let's move on to a bit of riding, shall we? No, guys, riding. Finally, DB, you're taking too long. Hey, I'm just making sure you got all the fundamentals down. Alright, so now that we've done enough pushing and that we're now ready to push and stand on the board and actually ride the skateboard, is it's just simply a matter of pushing and getting your feet on. Now, what's the mistake I just made? I wasn't bending my legs, was I, during the whole riding phase? I can't stress this enough, guys. Bend your legs. Up until last week, I wasn't doing that. As it turns out, now, here's the logic behind it. This is what Aaron Cairo teaches. When your legs are bent, you're closer to the ground. So if you do fall, it's not going to be as big as a slam you're taking if you're standing up straight. Yes, makes sense. But you'll probably find once you get really used to riding around cruising, you'll probably stand up straight anyway, because pretty much everyone does eventually. However, there's a bit more to it than just that. Bending down also keeps you in control if you're setting up for a trick. It keeps you center and over the board, so if I'm going to do an ollie, I want to make sure my legs are bent, so when I pop the board, that I'm not straight like this and end up sliding the board out from under me and end up falling on my back and hurting myself. And it's just as important to keep your legs bent when you're cruising around anyway, as well as going down hills. So, but for now, so you push, so I'm just doing a couple of quick pushes. 1, 2, I'm on the board, I bend my legs are on. Now you saw what I just did there, that was a bail. That was a bail. I saw this really nasty obstacle coming up that I didn't have time to avoid and evade, so what I did there was bail. Now there's a couple of ways to do that. Now, first of all, to stop your skateboard, all you got to do is take your back foot off. Take your back foot off and you will stop. You can try to guide it down to the point where you're sort of sliding into a stop, where your foot is like barely on the ground, but just putting it down will also stop it. And also, to step off your board or bail, you can do it this way. Take my back leg off first and then the front one follows through to the side. Or there's this way that I was just doing, which what I did there was jump and I kicked the board back behind me, which you're going to want to do, because if you don't kick the board back behind you and you try to bail in front of it, it could come up again behind you, get on your back leg, and then suddenly you're riding and taking a big fall like that. Alright, so now we're going to get into a little bit into turning. Now, the turning is relatively easy. There are a couple ways to do it. I'm going to go through the simplest and easiest way to turn your board now. I'll cover kick turns in another video for those of you who are actually interested in progressing as a skater and, you know, learning tricks and whatnot. Because before you get into learning tricks, you got to learn the fundamentals, including kick turning. However, whenever you turn on a skateboard, the simplest, easiest way to turn is simply lean into it. So you see here I'm leaning into the right. That'll cause my board to go right when I turn. So if you want to actually stand on your board stationary like I am doing right now and just sort of practice this, leaning back and forth like that, nothing wrong with that. In fact, I recommend it. So leaning back, leaning left, and just sort of get used to that. So when you start riding around, you can then start applying these turns to your skates, and next thing you know, you're doing laps around your park. As you can see where I am now, I'm in a little bit of a park. This is like my favorite little practice session. There's hardly anyone here to disturb me or anything, so I can just go for it. Alright. Now, in case you're wondering about going down hills, I'm going to cover a better video about how to go down hills and how to safely go down them in another tutorial video. But for now, I see no reason why you can't have a quick lesson in going down a small hill, like a really small one, and I'll throw in a lean turn just for extra. So here you can see here, this is a very slight hill. It's not that steep at all, but it will give you a bit of speed. Probably a bit more speed than what you're going to be used to at this point from pushing the board. But yeah, if you see a hill that's about as steep as this, it's the perfect one to sort of start getting used to going down hills and getting a feel of how quick your board's going to pick up speed. So anyways, I'm going to go down it now, and when I get towards the end there, I'm going to do a right lean turn in there, so you'll see how the lean turn is done too. Alright, without further ado, let's do this. See, I'm bending my legs. Here I am, leaning to the right. I'm turning right. Quick lean. See? No trouble at all. And I was able to stop easily too. On some quick last notes is, firstly I want to say that if you're picking up a skateboard and you're thinking you're never going to fall on it, I hate to disappoint you guys. If you're afraid of falling, if you pick up a skateboard, you're on a skateboard, sooner or later, you are going to fall. So it's probably best that you guys do invest into some elbow pads, knee pads, wrist pads, a helmet, of course. Now, I may not be wearing wrist pads or elbow pads or knee pads at the moment. That's because I'm more experienced and used to it. However, if I go to a skate park, I'm wearing all the pads. When I go to the skate park, I always got all the pads on. And at the skate park, they have prevented me from getting injured so many times. It's not funny. So yes, if I were you, first time skaters or whether you've skated before and just come back, I do recommend elbow pads, knee pads, wrist pads, and a helmet. No matter what, I'll always wear my helmet. No matter how used to it I am. Safety first. And you know what? If it makes you feel safe wearing all those pads and stuff, do it. Do it. You got to look after yourself after all. And the other thing I want to say to you is skateboarding is about fun. So have fun. Do what you feel is fun. If cruising around is your if just cruising down the street is your idea of fun, go for it. Do it. If you want to learn how to cruise down the street as well as hill bomb that first hill, go for it. Learn it. You want to learn tricks and progress as a skater and have a lot more fun and have more things you can do on a skateboard? Go ahead. The key word to skateboarding is fun. If you're not enjoying it, then you shouldn't be doing it. And well, that's going to be that for this tutorial. I now got to sort of work on my own things now. There is a leaf in front of me. I don't know how to ollie over it. What can I do? Yay!